right? It's even less pressure, because if you push real hard, and who knows, maybe there was a hill on this side that just started to come down just so lightly, rotating down, different little things, right? Come over here. All depends. What do you want yours? Hi, welcome to Paint with Josh. Today we did a gorgeous 16 by 20 inch canvas. Turned out fantastic. Used black gesso, and I show you exactly how from a pure white canvas, how to get all these black gesso effects in the background right when we start. So I know you're excited about painting this painting. That's why you clicked on the link. Make sure you check the description down below. Get all the colors you need. Make sure you get your canvas nice and wet. Get ready to throw some paint on. We're gonna do it just like this. Hi, welcome back to Paint with Josh. Today I'm gonna show you how we prep our white canvas with black gesso so we can paint the scene that we're about to do right now. Now I've taken a little bit of our Liquitex black gesso right on here to my Santorini stone. That's what I like to use, and a little acrylic synthetic fan brush. Don't want to use your oil fan brushes, that's for sure. And maybe we'll come up here. And this stuff is so different than oils. So just little teeny tiny flicks, right? It's even less pressure, because if you push real hard, then you're gonna have this real hard, real deep, dark, real untree looking little shadow, right? We're gonna come off this side, start pushing down, get less and less and less as we come up. And anything that we don't like, guess what we do? We put another tree in there, right? So you come back, you load it back up. Maybe another guy came down from up here. We just load it in, we start tapping up. And whatever you don't like about these guys, you can cover, right? You literally take it and cover over it with your sky color, right? You want these guys to blend in. That's why we don't really very much care what happens underneath, unless you want to show a little bit of distance behind there. Then you leave a few little things. Watch, I'm turning the brush like almost sideways and just tapping up to kind of fill them in, pop out a few little branches. Like I said, these are far away little trees. They're not the focal point, right? Just like that. Well, we come over here and we'll just tap in a few little distant trees into there, right? We're gonna fill all that up, filling it all up. And this acrylic dries very fast, so you don't have to worry about it. It's gonna dry within 10 or 15 minutes. We'll be ready to paint. I'm gonna put one more. Actually, let's dump a little bit of that off. We don't need too much paint on the brush. You come in here, very soft like that. Maybe we'll do this guy as a downward facer. We'll just start tapping in. We're gonna go back and forth, and whatever we allow to show, right? More pressure, adjust the angle of our brush. All depends. What do you want yours to look like? That's what I always say. Right? If it doesn't look like mine, then change your brush angle so it does look more like you want it to look like, right? Every so often we pop a couple little things out there, leave little spaces inside. Maybe it grew down here. Take all this stuff, we'll just start to blend it out, because we're gonna have a lot of room, a lot of dark area underneath here anyway. Now, just on this side, maybe we come back, a little guy down in there, maybe we'll turn our brush over. Maybe he has a friend or two, I don't know. Just like that, right? Again, decide what you want them to look like. Maybe we want another downward facer. Let's come back in, we'll start tapping downward, adjusting our brush, right? Tapping out. Start dropping all these cool little things, right? And wherever you leave any light area, when you go over it with your brush, it's gonna show through that tree. So if you want your tree to be nice and thick and full, don't leave too much space, right? Come over here, maybe this guy's a little upward tapper. And we'll start slapping at it, maybe just doing the one side, right? Starting to run out of paint on the brush. So let's go back, just like this. Literally slapping, and whatever happens, happens. Make these cool little things, right? The faster you do it, the cooler little things happen. You pop out, you leave these neat little branches like that, right? And we come over here and we start tapping up, crisscrossing, and just slapping the lightest bit we could possibly get to touch, right? Maybe sometimes they don't even touch. And again, only really worried about what our left side of our tree looks like, not the side where our other trees are. Just what this left side looks like. How does that look as it's coming out? You know what I mean? And then we can go back in here, fill in all this extra space. You don't need all that stuff. You don't want it to show. Right? If we leave a little bit of space back behind here, it'll just add that little bit of extra distance. Maybe we had one little guy just in there like that. Gonna come up, we're gonna tap. Try to make this guy have the cool little details, because he's out on the end. There we go. little things, little taps, right? With our dark color. So switch to a bigger brush, and then we're gonna swipe all that stuff in. Just like that. And this stuff does not blend like our oils on a dry canvas, right? So you gotta work quickly and allow it to cover every single bit of all those little white areas. Cover up the sides, cover up the bottom, and then we'll be ready to paint. All right, dumping it on. And the more you put on, the thicker it's going to be. There we go. Fill in underneath our little tree right there. And that's gonna be just that little angle down. We're gonna fill in everything else underneath. So work it in, spread it out, and then allow it to dry. And then we'll be back in a few minutes. Go wash your brushes off. By the time you come back, this thing will probably be dry. You want it to be extremely dry. You do not want it to be wet at all. No wet areas. Again, make sure this part is dry before you go on to the next step. Tell me where you're watching from and what's your favorite sandwich? We love to know the sandwich question. As I spill stuff all over my palette, look at that. My name's Paint with Josh. We're gonna do a cool little waterfall painting. Gonna have a river come out here, drop a couple little waterfalls. It's gonna be fantastic. So if you like waterfalls, then this is a great video for you. And if you're watching this live on TikTok, you're gonna be able to watch it over on YouTube. In a couple weeks, I'm gonna edit the video, zoom in and out. Every time we come up and touch the canvas, we're gonna be zoomed in. It's gonna be fantastic. Initially, we need to cover our canvas in Bob Ross Liquid White. And also, Bob Ross Liquid Clear, right? We use these a lot, especially when we're doing a split black and white canvas like this. So, get your Bob Ross Liquid White, put it up in the top, and our Liquid Clear down in the bottom. Now, the way we do that, we'll shake it up a little bit, just so a little bit gets stuck to the top of the lid, right? Don't need a whole lot, so I'm gonna twist the lid over. I'm gonna grab our 2-inch brush, brand new 2-inch brush, sent to us by Melanie, one of the fans from our Amazon wish list. Thank you so much, Melanie. Let me see if we've got any mods yet. Girls, where are my mods at? It's all right, I'll just do this all on my own then. Well, we did it on our own the other night. We had 96,000 people watch the show, so, you know, I'll just get used to doing it that way. It's all good. No mods needed. Oop, oh, my canvas about popped out of the whole easel right there. All right, gotta make sure it's nice and slick and wet. There we go. And that way our thick oil paints are gonna blend across all of these little bits, but we're not gonna try to cover up too much of our dark tree paint, right? If we cover up too much of this dark tree, it's gonna add too much color on it. It's gonna make it go too far away. So just very lightly, and you can see just how much paint I'm actually trying to get on the canvas. The smallest little bit. If you have too much, it's going to hurt you. It's not gonna help, it's going to hinder. Right, look, even as we go over these trees with just such a small amount of pressure, look at that little bit of white that goes across, right? Maybe you have a few little sun rays shine through into your forest. And the more you push and the more you drag into there, the more cool little things happen, right? But we don't want to do that yet. That's a cool little trick we're going to show you a little bit later. So, I want to get all that bit of white, at least as much as I can, off the canvas, because we're not ready for it yet. I was just trying to show you a little trick, right? A little trick. But the more white that we have on there, the more is going to spread around and turn our black kind of light gray, and that's not what we want. So we're going to take a 2-inch brush, brand new one, right? And some liquid clear. Shake this guy up. You just need a little bit. And I like to get it a lot of times from the lid of the jar. And if you don't get enough on the jar, just maybe a 1/4 inch, just dipping the tip in just a 1/4 inch. Look at that stuff drip. It's like syrup. Oh, it's like the stickiest, slickest thing you've ever felt. And it's a very strange thing, right? We're gonna drop a little bit over here, a little bit over there. And that way we're not kind of blending it all from one area. We're spreading it evenly throughout our entire dark black section, right? Bing, bang, boom. With a big old 2-inch brush, you can do it very quickly on this 16 by 20 inch canvas. So I'm gonna come up into our trees, but not try to grab any of that white. But we want every bit of our tree, or every bit of our canvas to be covered. What's up, Crystal? Where's everyone watching from?
I don't have any locations or favorite sandwiches yet.
Oh no, guys.
I'll let you know as soon as we start dropping them.
We must have said it too soon. Guys, if this is the first time you're watching a Paint with Josh video, or the 1 millionth time, tell me where you're watching from and what's your favorite sandwich Use your favorite food emoji. What's the last emoji you sent to your girlfriend or your husband or your wife or your boss or your best bro or your best girl pal? What's that last emoji you sent? That's always a cool thing. All right, now we need to wash these brushes off.
All right, so
go ahead.
we've got some now. Illinois, New York, Ohio, Brooklyn, Alabama, Mississippi, Boston, Baltimore, Georgia, Indiana, Ohio, Wisconsin, Colorado, Massachusetts, Arizona, York, Jacksonville, Florida, Chicago, Texas, Missouri, Ohio, Massachusetts, Michigan, Richmond, Virginia, New York City, Nevada, Alberta, Canada, Kentucky, Wyoming, Florida, Nevada, California. Is that Bologna, Tennessee? There's a Bologna, it's spelled B-O-L-O-G-N-A, but it's totally Bologna.
Like Bologna.
Dallas, Texas. Yeah, Bologna.
Just real quick, we're going to take a paper towel and wipe that whole clear area.
South Dakota. You got all kinds of places on here.
Excellent.
Oh, Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. There we go. All right, we're going to take our paper towel. We're going to wipe off all that clear paint. You don't want to have a lot on there. So even though we put it on as thin as we could possibly do it, there's still excess that you can remove. So we're going to wipe that off. We're going to double check the glare.
Some of the emojis I'm seeing are laughing emoji, heart emojis, shot glasses. There was sandwiches, which I think somebody said ham sandwich and then threw that out. Turkey, avocado, all kinds of wonderful food
nice.
Emojis. They're going by so quickly. Star emojis, crown emojis.
Yeah, I want to say thank you to Lauren Hansen. She got me titanium white. If you've been watching, this is the 9th day that we've gone live, 9 days in a row, and every painting that we painted has sold during the live show. Now let's get to some painting. Let's go through the colors. Our sap green, yellow ochre, bright red, dark sienna, which is a light brown, Van Dyke brown, which is a darker brown, cadmium yellow, which is the brightest yellow, phthalo green, which is that sea color green, Prussian blue is the darker blue, alizarin crimson, midnight black, titanium white. Let me wash these brushes off. We'll beat the devil out of them real quick and we'll be ready to go. Just like that. My paint thinner cup's only about halfway up, so even though it looks like I'm dipping it into the whole cup, I'm only actually dipping about a 1/4 inch, and then I'm spinning it inside the cup to release any amount of spray that stays in the cup, right? That way it doesn't spray all over my clothes or my painting or my house. It doesn't get everywhere. And then we bring out the old beater bucket, which is a 5-gallon bucket with a golf ball basket in the bottom. And it's the only thing I had in my garage. I'm a painter on a budget. And when I very first started painting, just like a lot of you guys, I didn't want to go spend money on stuff I didn't need. So I found this golf ball basket in my garage and I was like, hey, I could use this thing. And I've been using it for the same basket for 4 years now. That poor old basket's just been run through the mill. So again, tell us where you're watching from. What's your favorite sandwich? We love to know. We're about to throw some color on this canvas. Are you guys ready? Give me a yes in the comments if you want to see some color on this canvas. Let's take a little bit of our 2-inch brush. And first we need to decide where we're going to have our river kind of lay, right? So let's go into that blue. On our big old 2-inch brush, we're going to bring our voice down for the tutorial and talk nice and softly, bro. For the tutorial like Bob Ross and Keanu Reeves, bro. Okay, we're going to take our 2-inch brush like this. And let's decide, maybe we wanted our river just by scraping it back and forth, just like that, just a little bit. I don't even know if you guys can see that, right? Just the smallest little bit of blue. And then maybe we come up here and we drop down like maybe an inch, not even the full 2-inch, right? So half our brush, we're gonna come down, just plopping a little bit of the blue on the canvas, right? And say we came down and we hit another little pool. And that little pool came over like this, and then it fell off. So we need to load this area full of blue. And that way, no matter where your water goes, it's going to hit the blue. If you kind of prep it and then you miss that area and you go over an area of black that doesn't have any blue on it, it's going to show up so bright white that it's not going to look like water. Okay, so we have to do these little prep things. Spread it out far enough, right? You can always go back and cover over it. Maybe we want to have a little bit of blue water down at the base of our waterfall. And if you don't, you can cover it with grass or leave it nice and dark like this and it'll dry and just look black. So cool. That's what they call a transparent color. When you put it on the canvas, it remains dark, right? And I learned this stuff too because I didn't go to art school. I've never taken a single class, and I've got 150,000 followers, 146,000, whatever it is over here on TikTok. I can't even remember. Let's go into the phthalo green as well. So remember, you don't have to spend a lot of money on some expensive course. You can literally come learn with Paint with Josh, learn how I learned. And with every painting, I only get better at teaching you guys how to do it the easy way, right? Have you ever heard that saying, work smarter, not harder, right? We're trying to find the smart way to do it so we can knock it out fast and we don't have to mess around and do a lot of extra work, right? Now we're gonna take all that blue and green, we're gonna wash it out of this brush. So tell us where you're watching from and what's your favorite sandwich, and tell me if you're about to see the coolest little rippling river into 2 different waterfalls. Are you ready? All right, I'm gonna switch to a brand new 1-inch brush that Jessica Morgan sent us off of the wish list. And I'm gonna switch to that 1-inch brush because it's a smaller area that we're working in up here, right? I don't wanna cover the entire bit of canvas. So why don't we go into a little bit of our yellow and a little bit of our yellow ochre. We're gonna bring them down. Oh, you know what? We're making a blue sky. What am I doing? I'm about to paint a sunset, and that would have gone very badly for our blue sky tutorial if I were to paint a sunset. So, I gotta paint a sunset on the next painting, Josh. What are you doing? I almost got just totally flip-flopped around and painted the paintings in the wrong order. Okay, now let's go back to our 2-inch brush. Let's forget that I even switched to this 1-inch brush. Everybody rewind. Right, we came back. Let's go to that 2-inch brush because we're gonna go for a blue sky. Yes, right, that was our initial plan. Let's go for a blue sky. So a little bit of that Prussian blue onto the brush. You're dragging it down, and then we're kind of tapping in down here. So that's why we have this clear palette. You can see how thick it is, right? The more we... Hey, what was that? What was that noise? Was that a sale? Oh my goodness, who bought this painting? Oh man, I'm using...
That was an under the sea gift. So you probably heard bubbles and fish sounds.
No, I literally looked back and someone has bought this painting, I believe. But I'm using both of my devices right now, so I can't look at it. But either way, we're gonna come in with a little bit of blue sky and start to drop it down, right? And because we put our Bob Ross liquid white on the canvas at that very beginning of our painting, when I showed you guys how to prep it, we put that Bob Ross liquid white on there. It's going to blend in with all of that white and become lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter as we come down, right? I love a blue sky. It's so easy to do because all you have to do is not overdo it, right? Let it be different, right? Let it be dark blue. Let it be light blue. Maybe come in with a little bit more blue on the brush. Maybe we come from a different side, right? Dabbing it out, coming in here. Different angles, right? Because then we can swipe them together and they'll crisscross and blend very lightly over our trees. I don't want our trees to disappear. So very light pressure. And maybe as we come down over here, right? We'll have it get lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. Maybe the sun is, maybe our light source, maybe something's happening back here, but I just don't want too much paint. Right? And then I'll show you when we start to blend it out, all of this is gonna grow down anyway. But if we're gonna have a light side, then we need to have a dark side. So let's go into our dark black paint and load it up. Same way, right? We didn't cover even all the blue in the brush. There's not a whole giant amount of paint on the brush. So let's come up here and you'll see, right? It's not a big swipe of black. It's just a little bit because we tapped it into the brush. We blended it in before we dumped it up there, right? We kind of tapped it in, spread it out through all these little bristles. So remember, if you guys are liking this on TikTok, maybe give me a couple taps on the screen and go over to my YouTube channel and subscribe because this tutorial, zoomed in, all sorts of details, is going to be out in April, just in a couple weeks. And it's going to be fantastic. You'll be able to learn how to paint this scene right from the beginning. So if you missed the beginning, go over to YouTube and subscribe and then come right back. And by the time you get back, I'll have this nice, gorgeous blue little sky for you, okay? We're going to take that brush and we're going to wash it off because there's now, what do we talk about all the time? I have a brand new Paint with Josh shirt coming that says the 3 Ps of Paint with Josh. And what are the 3 Ps? It's the amount of paint on the brush, the amount of pressure on the canvas, and practice, of course, right? So now right here, the amount of paint on the brush, we have a lot of paint. So if I put any amount of pressure, that paint is gonna spread even further than I want. So let's wash this brush off. You gotta take the time, wash your brushes, get your tools nice and clean and ready to go. And that way, if you forget or you have to like run out of the room at the end, you don't leave a brush full of paint, right? Ruin it. Put our cup back over here, shake it into the bucket, beat the devil out of it. All right, just like that. Okay, now we're gonna take that
Just
same...
to let you know, London said that you did make a sale, but it wasn't this painting.
Oh, it wasn't this painting. Well, excellent. This one is
It is still up in the store.
still up for grabs. Number 681, 681, and 682 is over there. So, plus, remember, guys, you're gonna get to name this painting. If you're watching the stream right now, type your name in. What would you think we would call this little deep woods kind of waterfall scene, right? What would you name it? And towards the end of the stream, I'm going to ask for all of the comments and all the people, and Crystal's going to read out all the names. So don't write them in too soon, but start dropping the names, whatever you want to think you want to call this painting. And maybe your name will be chosen at the end, or if somebody buys it, that's the fun thing with a live show. If somebody buys this painting, they might choose the name you chose, right? Or you suggested. So, there we go. Crank it down again.
What's the name of the one hanging below? We've got that in the comments here.
This is
interested in it.
This is called Lost Serenity. It's a gorgeous little same size painting. Just turn this way, right? Just blue, black. There's only 5 or 6 colors in this one. And it came out fantastic. So I like to have it down here.
Thank you.
No worries. You guys can find this one's in the Etsy store too. It's actually the most viewed painting in the Etsy store. No one's bought it yet, but they've looked at it the most. Right? Okay, remember you guys can go to paintwithjosh.etsy.com and purchase this painting before anyone else can, before it's even done. And just to show you, I'm no joker, right? We put out some good stuff. And this is going to be a gorgeous blue and green and yellow piece. Oh, it's going to be fantastic. So let's take our 2-inch brush. We're going to come up here and start blending it down, right? And the more we go over these trees, the more, maybe our light's coming from this way. Look at this. Oh, just with that clear, how much more it shines through. And you start dragging little bits of light or atmospheric details down into your tree, right? Don't want to let it get too dark though down in here. Now we're gonna, but in any case, it's going to have a light color to bounce our foreground off of, right? Can't just be straight black back there. You gotta have a little bit of color in it. A little bit of that light color, right? We'll come up here. Just start crisscrossing back and forth, little figure 8s, back and forth, back and forth. The more we blend down over everything, right, the more it's going to show distance, how deep and far away these are, how bright our light source is coming in. All depends, right? And we have these streaks come down like that. And this one came down just like a clock though, right? We're going in different angles. 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, rock. 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, rock. 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're gonna rock around the painting tonight. Do, 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 do. I don't know how I just broke into that and how I even went backwards. You're supposed to go the other way with that song. So, surprise myself every so often, right? I love this little armrest back here too. I don't know if you guys can tell, my fingers are back behind the canvas because I'm just chilling. Let's just chill and paint, right? You guys want to paint something cool? Let's just chill. Let's do it. What do you guys want to paint? All right, let's wash this brush off. And now we're going to come in and fill in all of our gorgeous little details. We don't even need to add any clouds to this sky. It's so gorgeous. And you don't even need to do it. And all we did was blend it out. We took some paint, we threw it up there. We blended it out, and then we kind of stopped when we think that it looks the best. And that's what's cool about painting. Everyone's is going to be so much different, right? If you do this tutorial, it's going to end up being different than mine because you're going to see something. Maybe your sky's a little bit darker or a little bit brighter or a little bit less or a little bit more. You're going to do this, or maybe your waterfall goes this way when mine's going this way. You don't have to follow the tutorial exactly, right? You're going to see something in your painting and you're going to go, wow, I need to do this instead of what Josh did, right? Now we're going to wash our brush off and take a clean dry brush, and that way this doesn't spread any further than we want it to. Right? Bring some of that light down in here, and all it is to drop any amount of foreground. You'll have that little mistiness behind it, right? Not the same everywhere, but you got to have that little mistiness. Oh, it's lovely. Lovely little bit. Okay, we're going to load up a fan brush. And we don't have to use such a big fan brush. Let's go with a smaller fan brush today. What's this size? This is a size 8. It's a GAC Doctor. That's what I call them anyway. GACDR. Little fan brushes, hog hair bristles, fantastic natural brushes. And I get sent these. I just got another pack from Melanie, and I'm gonna open them probably tomorrow when we do another show. So they're awesome. They take a beating. I paint a lot, and these really last. So take your white just on the end of the brush, just like that. We're going to come in here, and wherever we put our blue paint, we're going to start sliding back and forth. Back and forth. We're going to just have our little bit of river. See, it's very flat. You don't have a lot of dips or a lot of angle, right? It's not coming down at this crazy angle. We can still tell the water's rolling towards us, but it's not shooting down. Angles are very important, guys. If you don't have the right angle, then it's just gonna look very weird. It's gonna look too far down, almost like you're looking down at it from above. And you're up here, right? We're not up here, we're down here. I love painting down at the bottom, like I'm sat down here and I'm just looking out like I wanna walk into the scene, right? That's how I like to paint. So, you can see on the end of the brush, it got a little bit of blue on it right there, right? Just from mixing in. So all of this white paint is just wasted. Don't need all that white paint. If I push too hard, it's gonna drop too much paint and it's gonna cover, it's gonna be too bright. It's not gonna look how we want it to look. So wash your brush off. And when I tell you to just load a little bit into the bristles, just load a little bit. Right now we need to get a little bit more. So forget what I just said and load a little bit more into the bristles. Just like that. Because I think our detail back there is very cool. We can take our last little bit. Maybe we had a couple little bright areas, right? But the more areas that you make bright and the more little things you have out there, the more people are going to want to look. That's not our focal point out here, right? So we're going to take it, swipe it to the side, leaving little lightness, a little bit of dark. Gonna fill in that spot. It's too dark back there. There we go. But we're not covering everything, right? Look at those little differences right there. Leave it. It looks like the water's crisscrossing back and forth. Maybe there's a really teeny tiny waterfall way off there, right? Okay, now without washing the brush, I'm going to come back in, just loading the tip again. And now we have to decide for our little mini waterfall guy. We're going to come in here, just like that, paint on both sides. We have to go to the right and down. So we go over it a little bit and down, over and down, over and down. Don't need to make it too big, right? Again, far off a little waterfall. Don't want to have it be too big. I'm going to take our 2-inch brush like this and go same thing, over and down, over and down, over and down. Just soften it back there, right? And then what's cool is we're going to have another little pool in here. And then our waterfall is going to come out and it's going to just roll over and fall down again, right? So don't go anywhere. We got some cool things happening, but we got to come back and fill in a little bit of details back here, right? But I want to grab your attention with this water. And sometimes I end up going too far because I just love how the water looks and how it falls. And in my head, it's alive. And I'm like, and it's going over and over and over. It's just fantastic. So try not to do too much water, Josh. Don't do too much water. Let's make it look right just in case. There we go. Our angles have to be right. And then you got to have that rotation. Right? But we don't want to cover everything. It's not too crazy. Not too crazy. Now, we need to get a little palette knife. Just a small one. You don't need the giant one. We're not making a big old giant mountain, right? We're going to mix up a little bit of our yellow, our cad yellow, our yellow ochre, and our sap green. A little bit. Almost an even, much less sap green than anything else. It looks even here, but it's not. A little bit of sap green. Maybe 1 part, 2 parts, 2 parts, right? We're going to mix them up down here. They make the I almost said the gorgeousest. The most gorgeous little greeny, yellowy, grassy look that you can possibly have, right? But in my paintings, what do we always talk about? Differences in what? Color, right? Color, differences in color. So I'm going to take a little bit of that green pile and I'm going to mix it over into this yellow pile. And then I'm going to split them in half again, right? So we got 2 little piles right over here that we can work with. And we don't need a whole lot of paint because we're going to be smacking the brush into it and loading up our bristles. 2 different colors. Maybe we'll take a little bit of our brown and just slide it out right in front there because we don't need a whole lot, right? We really don't. When we're painting on black canvas, we don't want to cover all of the black, right? That's not the goal, to cover every bit of our black. So even in our grass, we have to leave little teeny tiny bits of darkness, right? So maybe we'll take our yellow color. And like I said, we're going to tap it, maybe a couple taps, and then work it in down here. Look at how much thinner it is, right? You can see through it. You can almost see my arm back in here because there's not a whole lot of paint on the brush. And that's what we want. The amount of paint, the amount of pressure and practice, right? Now we're going to come in here, that teeny amount of paint, just start tapping in. And again, it's going to show up sort of bright because even though there's nothing on the brush, barely anything, 0 paint on the brush, right? We're going to come back in, we're going to tap into that green pile, a few more taps though. We're going to load the brush up just a little bit more. Now it's got a little bit, tap into our yellow, bring it over here. And now we have this little mix. Look at that. All these different colors in our brush. We're going to come up here, decide, maybe we start bringing it down, and you'll notice a difference in the change in the color. right? Bringing our angles down from the side. Look at that, you guys. So cool. And you know what's neat? You can sometimes take these little things and roll them over like little bits of grass. But we're going to do that in the front. Let's not worry about it too much back here. Grab a little bit more of that green, a little bit more here. Now watch, I'm going to sneak out a little bit of our just straight up sap green. And that way we've got an even little bit of a darker green in there. We'll come over here. And who knows, maybe there was a hill on this side that just started to come down right up to our little waterfall. See how it changes those different colors back there? And then the more and more we mix it in, right? Following our little lines, tapping it down. Gorgeous. Should we put on the Bob Ross wig? I feel like, how many people we got watching?
1,000 people.
I was going to say, if it was 1,000 or more, I was going to put on the Bob Ross wig. So, okay, you guys are lucky. You guys are lucky.
And you've got 50.2K likes. And I just want to go ahead while I have the opportunity to let everybody in the chat know that this painting is currently available over in Josh's store. If you head over to paintwithjosh.etsy.com, this is number 682. You can go ahead and grab it up while he's painting it.
681.
And if you make the purchase, you can name it.
681.
681. My bad.
682 is next. If this one sells, then we'll paint another one tonight. So we're going to come back in. I'm going to tap in our little bit of darker color, right? This is our lighter color. So we'll tap in our, even though they're very bright. We're going to take those guys, and who knows, maybe we start popping in like this. We come down, and it starts rolling off the edge, right? Where do you want your edge to be? You come down, you stop, you turn the brush, and go down again, right? Little things, different angles, little shadows, different little things, almost like a hand reaching out over the edge, right? So cool. I mean, you could do it back here too if you really wanted to. I'm going to add a little bit of a rock in there just so we have a few little details, little differences. Maybe we'll come into this phthalo green, which is a much different green, much darker green. We'll tap a few little bits into that light. Can you guys see the wig, by the way? Hi. Hang on. Let me do this.
Love the wig.
This was a very popular reel over on my Facebook channel when I did this. Hold on. Hi, I'm Bob Ross. Welcome to the Joy of Painting. Today we're going to take our grass. We're going to come down here so lightly, so gently, and just watch this. Just with the rotation of our brush, we can start having little, gorgeous little things start falling down. Oh, it's just fantastic. A little bit of yellow, brighten up onto the brush, and oh my good, look at this. Oh, guys. Look at that. Just starts to grow every which way. What do you want yours to look like? That's what Paint with Josh always says. And just with the amount of length and with the amount of paint and pressure and practice, right? You can have the coolest little things start happening. Very neat, very neat. Love that. All right, that's gonna be a really cool little TikTok right there. With the Bob Ross wig. Very, very cool.
Thank you, everybody, for all the gifts. Josh doesn't get to see them, so I will go ahead and tell you all thank you for him. You just got a bunch of roses. They really love that.
Thank you, guys. I love it. It's because of the wig, right? It's because of the wig. It's the wig. It's not me. It's the wig. And take a little bit of our brighter yellow just so we have it kind of rotate. It's mixing in. It's coming back. And it's blending in with this darker color as we get closer and closer and closer, right? We'll take our grass over here. Light touches. I know you guys can't really see from that side, but we like to finish the edges for the buyer, and that way they don't have to hang the painting. They can literally, or frame the painting, they can literally hang it just like we send it to them. Very cool, just like that. Oh, it's so fantastic. Okay, let's go back in. We're gonna finish off our little waterfall, right? You can have it hit, you can have it go down again. You can have it go off again, down this way, come into a little pond. All this could be mist. You could literally leave it just like that. Like you literally could. What does yours look like, right? I always say that. I'm talking to you this time. What does yours look like? Because it doesn't have to look exactly like this. That's the truth. And we're gonna take and we're gonna mix up. We gotta add a few little bits of foreground trees and stuff in here. Then we'll throw some rocks in and then we'll decide what the bottom looks like, okay? So, mix up our 3 favorite colors. And what are our 3 favorite colors? I want you to tell me, the person watching this tutorial right now, what are my 3 favorite colors? Blue, crimson, black, right? On the end of our brush. And you know what? The whole time that I'm sitting there and I'm like, what am I gonna say? How am I gonna get him to answer this question? I never even make up enough color. So then I have to go back and make up more color. And then I just cut this section out of the video anyway. So, geez, you guys. All right. Now we're gonna come in with one of our other fan brushes, same brand, that GAC Doctor fan brush. I love these brushes. I really wish I had my own Paint with Josh brushes. That would be fantastic. I've got 260,000 followers across all my platforms now, and I figure maybe a few of them would buy some brushes. So we're gonna take our GAC Doctor brushes for the meantime, load it up with our dark color paint, and then decide, see why we have all this light color in here? So when we come in and maybe decide we've got a little tree right down there, and maybe one little guy off to the side, everybody needs a friend, right? As we come in, maybe we tap these guys upwards because that big guy behind him is facing downwards. So we're gonna start pushing back and forth. And the more we go, the more we push into the tree. All right, now I'm gonna show you this other end over here. Angle of the brush, and then we come in, and as you come in, you slap, go down a little bit, slap, push a little bit harder, slap. You see what I mean? You start creating all these cool little branches, and little things. And again, we're gonna fill in the center anyway, right? Never gonna see all the way down, so it doesn't have to really matter much. Our leany old trees, right? We're gonna come over here, push this guy out, have him make him look like he makes sense. There we go, just like that. Very cool little tree. And this guy off the back, he never got as much water, so we're just gonna have a little teeny bit just popping off him. A couple little things, can't even see the whole guy, right? Now, I know these two would just be fighting their whole life. They'd be trying to get as much water as they could, fighting all the time. But big old mama tree over here, she's got to come in and be like, listen, boys, enough of this nonsense. You guys share, right? Maybe she's a saggy old downward tree because she's old. She's an old saggy Bob Ross tree, right? Start popping down, rotating the brush, backwards and forwards. And then the more we go down, the more we push out, creating those saggy old branches that are just got so much just life and weight on them. They're just sagging down, right? Very cool. And then we can decide where we want the base of our tree just by coming back in, tapping in our grass, feeding it back to wherever you want it. How far do you want it to go back? That depends on how much you mix it in, right? All you gotta do is tap it a little bit. You create that dark shadow. We're just mixing the paints together. That's all we're really doing. Maybe we take some of that dark shadow and we pull it out even more. Again, just mixing it with that shadowy bit of grass. Just like that. Just like that, folks, you get a very cool little happy tree. Excellent. All right, let's wash our brush off. Now, of course, those guys have to have some life to them, right? If they're going to be out there, they're going to need a little bit of life. And what I mean by that is depth and light and darkness, right? So we're going to take our liquid white, the stuff that we initially put on the top of the canvas, and then spread out very thin. And why don't we put that guy a little bit over here and a little bit over there, right? Look, I'm really trying to get it out of the brush. You don't want to have a whole lot. And let's do our shadows first. I'm going to take our darker color, little smidge of that liquid white, because I don't want it to get very bright, right? And even a good trick, you can take a little bit, teeny little tiny bit of our paint thinner, put it right there into our brush, mix it in. It becomes very liquidy and watery and wet, right? So we don't want to have the entire brush loaded up, just a little bit. We're going to come up here, and just off the back side of these guys, right? Let's pop a little bit of color up on the top, and then just off the back, we're going to start dropping these things down, popping out every so often. Remember, these are our shadows. It's not our highlights. We're not trying to cover all of our dark areas. We just want a few little things back in there, right? Every so often, it's very dark, and every so often, we're going to see a little bit of that greenish color. All right, why don't we take that same color, because it's just working out so fantastic. All right, we're going to come over here, and we'll grab a little bit of that black. Yeah, bring it down. There we go. Dull it down a little bit. So now, again, very sticky, sloppy, wet brush. We're going to come over here, tapping up. Right, getting that green onto our trunk. Just in case we miss it with our leaves, it'll have that little bit of color, right? And we're gonna come over here, super small little dabs here and there, very dark green. May not even be able to see it initially, right? And then this guy, maybe he's got all that darker green as well, kind of mixed in where our shadows are gonna reach down. They're not gonna be able to reach all the way down here, right? So we leave in that area very dark, very cool. Now, our last little bit, that same green dark mix, we're going to put just on the edge and the little tip of this guy. He's not even going to Not even gonna see a whole lot, but we gotta have a little difference on that guy back there. Now, those dark areas that you see are going to become our light areas. So I like to do my shadows first. It just kind of helps, you know, with your highlights. You can go back over and cover over whatever you don't like, right? If you've got an area of your shadows or your darkness that you don't like, guess what? You can always go back and fix it. So let's take a little bit of that cad yellow. We grabbed a smidge of the phthalo green on the brush as well. Gonna come into our yellow ochre, maybe a touch of the sap green, just so it's a little different. Now we're gonna bring into our liquid white and look at it brighten up like that. And then we can adjust. Say we need a little bit more green in here. Flip it over, load up our brush, just like this. And remember, over on YouTube, you're gonna be able to see this all zoomed in, how we load the brush, how we go through everything I show you over on YouTube. Nice and close. So we're gonna come up with our brush, just start tapping out over the edge of some of those bits, right? The more you come down, the more pressure you're gonna have to put in there, but you don't have to cover every single thing. That's not what you want. You gotta have those dark areas. Where are our critters gonna live if you just up and cover every single little dark place? They've got no little place to go, right? Very cool, very deep, very old, saggy tree. Now that brush likes to mix in with whatever color's underneath it. So you have to wash it off, go back in, grab up some of our liquid white again, maybe some of that phthalo green. Oh, I love that color. It's a gorgeous color. But if you just use the phthalo green and the white, it'll look blue, and that starts to look weird after a while. So all we're looking for is a few different colors, a few different shades of green back there, right? And in order to have a cool color green, you got to have some yellow every so often too. Just helps it, right? And again, we're not trying to load up the entire brush, so smush it out, get all that stuff out, maybe wipe it on a paper towel, and then we can go back in and just load up into that wet spot, that wet area. Come over here, tapping up. Not every bit is going to be the same amount of brightness or same amount of anything, right? You're never going to see the entire tree. You're not going to see the whole front. You're not going to see the whole back, is what we mean, right? So leave those little bits of bright, little bits of dark, have them pop out. I don't want to cover up all the bit of that tree back there with those little saggy branches. That just adds more depth and stuff, right? Very cool. Work it in wherever you think a little bit of green might show, just like that. Very, very neat. Again, these aren't our foreground trees, right? They're a little bit deeper into the background, a little bit further away, and so we don't need all the details in there. Throw some more of that deep green in there, yes. Oh yeah, lovely little things. All right, little taps, call them tappy trees, little things, right? We're not worried about what they look like back there. What we do need to do is mix up another giant big pile of our dark paint. Let's get some more crimson, some more black, some more blue. Mix it all up, you get this really dark purpley color. It looks very black. And that's what we want. We want it to look black. And that way, again, you have all the little room for all those little critters to live, right? All the little critters and such, they gotta have a place to stay. So, depending on how much of your river you want to cover, right? If you want to add a tree over here and put it right down onto the tip of where your waterfall goes over, you're going to end up, you know, by the time you come down, you're going to spread and cover a lot of that. So I don't want to do that for this one. I love that little bit of stream back there, but we do have to cover a little bit. So maybe we come over here. We put this guy a little bit further back. He sits a little bit further over here, right? We don't want him to fall off the edge. So a little straight line down, no pressure. Just whatever paint comes off. It's just a guide for our brush, right? And that way we can come onto our side. We can start popping up. Right, now I'm just going to do the left side, and then I'll show you guys all the right side. The left side likes to hide in the shadows for some reason. And if I put light on this side of us, then all of this shows glare to you guys. So this has been beta tested. I've tried and tested it. This is the best way to do it, okay? We're going to take this brush. We're going to come turn the other way. And we're just going to slap up at it. See what's making those little branches, little things, and they start to stick out. And the more we push, the more they're going to stick out. Right? So we start popping down little things, covering over little bits of our river back there, right? Now, where's the river come from? Who knows? It's back behind that tree. We're never gonna see the whole thing anyway. A little chunky little tree back here. Little differences, right? Not every branch is popping out exactly the same. You get these very cool, very deep, dark little things. You can't see any light, any color, anything back there. Now remember, if this is your first time watching a Paint with Josh video, or your first time seeing someone with such a fantastic perm, then tell us where you're watching from and what's your favorite sandwich. Tap on the screen, give us all the likes and the love and the hearts and the taps that all you guys are so good at. And you just make my day every time you do it. And get rid of all that color off this brush, and we're gonna load it back up with some dark green again. Okay, we're gonna come up here into that dark green. Not trying to pick up any bit of white. Let's get a little bit of our paint thinner or our low odor mineral spirits, just so it's very runny, right? Because a thin paint will stick to a thick paint. Bob taught us that. We're gonna come over here, tapping up again, going up. Let's go like this, right? Tap up, little pushes out, little flicks. This guy's got more detail in him because he's closer to us, right? A couple little things, you start popping out. Again, this is our deeper, darker green. And the more you come down and slap out there, the more color it's gonna drop off. See what I mean? You don't want all the color to be all the same. So kind of mix it in with that darkness, get all those little deep, dark areas, right? And we gotta wash this dark color off of there, put in a little bit of highlight on that guy. Remember, tell us where you're watching from, what's your favorite sandwich, and right after this tree, Crystal's going to tell me where you guys are watching from. So, put it in the comments section if you want to have a shout out, or at least get a shout out for your state, your city, your country. Where are you watching from? Let us know in the comments now. Okay, we're going to load it up with our little light green color, right? Very cool. Love this little color like that. Come over here, I'm going to tap on it. And then whatever comes off is going to come off. We're going to slap up at it. Little teeny tiny things, right? I'm going to try to push the brush way over here and see if I can do it like this. Little teeny tiny taps. This is so hard to do, just to show you guys, right? Leaving little differences in there. You don't have to cover up the whole thing. And then you adjust the angle, adjust the amount of pressure, come down, and you got one light side of your tree and one dark side of your tree. And I never like it to be such a straight line, so have a few areas where it gets lighter and where it's darker, right? That's what I like to do. And that's what we like doing. Let's throw a rock in here, and then we'll be close to being done, guys. So start coming up with your names. What would you name this painting? And write it in the comments. Crystal's gonna read them out to me. First, she's gonna tell me where all you guys are watching from as I wash this brush and take a drink, and I have to take this wig off. It's getting way too hot. What we're gonna do now is using that dark color that we had, we're going to grab it back up onto our brush. I'm going to come over here. And I use a fan brush a lot of the times because a lot of people have trouble using a palette knife to do the rock section. So we're going to come up above our bit of grass, into our little bit of water, cover over just the edge. Maybe you messed up over here on the side. So I'm giving you the opportunity to go back and cover over just a little bit of it, right? Bring it down. But this is why you don't really do this part until afterwards, but I show you guys just to get you hooked, and then I got to show you how good I am just by missing that water, just like that, right? Come over here, decide what you want your big old gnarly rock to look like. Maybe it came up here. You know what we need to do? We almost forgot to blend our little base of this guy. It looked like he was floating back there, right? So again, we're just tapping it, just how same exact way we did with our grassy shadows, and then we can go back and fill it in. So don't worry. If you cover over some of your favorite things right here, it just gives you a little bit deeper, darker shadow to bounce that off of, right? No big deal. So we're gonna take that brush, we're gonna finish making what our rock looks like. Popping it out over here, over there. And people get mad when I do that sound, right? So now, instead of that, when we do highlights and stuff, I go, shazoo! and you know, it makes some people laugh. Some people laugh. All right, we're gonna come over here. We need to make up a little bit of our rocky color. So take a bit of brown, bit of our yellow ochre. All right, we're gonna mix those guys up down here. Maybe I should raise the palette up so we can see. Mix those guys up, and that yellow ochre with that brown, you get that cool, I mean, look at that. Oh, just if you don't overdo it, you get this little striping, marbling pattern. It's fantastic. So we're gonna scrape up some of that, little tiniest amount on the edge of the knife, come over here with the right amount of pressure, the right amount of paint, and the right amount of practice, and rotation, and all the other things, right? You can make the coolest little things start to happen on your rock. Very, very neat, right? Little things start happening. You start seeing little pieces. Maybe there's a little flat spot right here where the seagulls could sit, hang out, and watch this little bit of waterfall just happen all day. Maybe they got a little nest back in there. Who knows? Right? What does yours look like? I always say that. We're going to take our 1-inch brush because the 2-inch brush is very big. And I'm talking about 0 hairs. Just blow on it enough to just to soften it. Oh, just like 3 swipes and that's it. That's all you get. And that way you retain all your cool details, but it softens that texture just a little bit and helps it dry just a little bit faster. So if you're ever like, why does my painting take 9 days, 9 weeks to dry? It's probably because it's very thick everywhere. And it takes a while, let me tell you. Okay, why don't we put in another rock right on the edge of this guy, right? We can seal him in, we can hide underneath our tree, we can do all sorts of stuff. So maybe this guy over here came up, he came down a little bit. Just like that, covered in this area, right? Pokes out, hides a little bit of that, and then we can start to highlight him, saving little things, popping up over the top of our water, right? Because you got to hide some little areas of your little pool. Can't show every single piece of the pool at the same height, right? Then we take that rock and we're going to bend it around here and cover up everything else. Not all of your canvas, but just enough to make it dark, right? That way our water looks like it came and it hit, and then it rotated down because there was this big rock right here. It was not allowing the water to go anywhere else but turn and go down, right? We need to adjust our angle of our water from back here. There we go. It's got to be straight in my mind. And when I paint over here on this angle, for you guys, I try to stay out of the way. And on some of the times that hurts the painting angle. There we go. A little bit of brightness right on the top. We rotate over. We help you see what the water's supposed to look like, right, as it's going over the edge. Maybe just light up a little bit of area right in there. Bang, just like that. So cool. So neat. So neat. Comes down. Maybe we got a little splashy action. Just a couple little splashers. Not all of it's the same, right? Not going to hit everywhere. And if we come up into our rock, we can always go back and cover over that. Depending on how far you make this go, you can push this rock as far back as the waterfall or have it stay back in front over here. And we tap up underneath this guy. We've got a couple little splashers, a couple little bits of action. And we start rotating over. See, and this is why you leave extra room for your water to grow if it needs to. And then we'll come down like this. Rotating down, changing our angle, changing our pressure, having it flow down. It's my favorite thing to do is watch this water just come to life and go, fall off, right? Leaving those little differences, little bits of light. We come back, we pick up a little bit more white onto our brush. Come back over here. Have it go down. Saving those little things, saving our little bits of blue back here. So we have white, we have blue, we have all these little differences in the water, differences in color. Right? Just like so. Very cool, guys. What do you think of that? What do you think of that, Charlie Brown? Going to come back in here and just again go back over those little bits. So we push it back and our rock remains nice and dark in the foreground, right? Boom. Now we can highlight that however we want to highlight that. You can come back in, you can leave it dark, you can just do the top, you can make it all a different brown, you could have green grass growing up it, growing down it, you can do all sorts of stuff. So let's take our 1-inch brush, just to soften it all down, pull it away from itself like it's a little mini mountain, and depending on where you put your little drags and pulls, you can start to see little things in the reflection of the lights, or the different angles, or the slight amount of difference in color in the paint. You can start to see all these cool little things. Watch this. We're going to blend all these little guys away like they were never there, and then I'm going to drop them back in over the top of that rock. Oh, that's going to be cool. And it's all about just trying something, right? Never done it like this. We've done this painting like 3 or 4 times now, and it always ends up looking different, which is the great part and why it's so original. It's because I can never do it exactly the same again. And what if we made this guy look like a little peak right here? And if we bring it, if we make it a little bit brighter than this guy right here, it'll make this whole piece look like it's in front of everything. So cool. Just a weird looking shape, right? We're gonna come in here and we'll grab a smidge of our cad yellow, our cadmium yellow, our brightest yellow. Just mix that into a pile over here, just so, again, you can tell small little differences, right? And we grab up this guy over here, scrape a little bit up. And I wanna leave some dark areas, leave some light areas. Right? And we come in, start lightening it up over here, pulling it down. Touching, dragging. If it doesn't come off, move on. Don't try to force it. Right now, again, it's mixing with all that dark color on the paint and changing the color, forcing me to push harder, which is not what you want to do. You do not want to push harder. Let's go back and grab some of this original brown, mix it with our Van Dyke brown, come down here and make a darker color brown. Maybe grab a little crimson with it too. Just a little bit. Gives that little reddish, brownish hue to it. It's so neat. Oh, that's lovely right there. That's a lovely bit of color right there. Grab this guy up. Maybe he sits underneath all that color, right? It's not very dark, or not very bright, but it leaves the coolest little things, especially when you're looking at it up close. Neat little things, leaving little areas of dark behind it, right? You don't have to cover up every single bit of that dark color of paint. We want to retain that stuff, right? And all I'm doing is scraping up a little bit and then just letting it fall off my knife, right? If you get it too much in an area, come down, maybe rotate. Maybe that was a sign that says, hey, we should rotate and go this other way, right? It's a sign from the art gods. Maybe again, there's a little flat spot out here where the seagulls can sit and hang out. You never know. That's what I like to think anyway. Right? Tuck it back in here. Maybe we don't even bring that other color, this lighter color, all the way down, because who knows if it would make it all the way down into this thing. And we just leave it dark brown like that. Right? Come in, scrape up a little bit of our yellow, our little different yellow. So it's a different kind of brownish color, especially the more it mixes in. Right? You get these cool little things. Look at that. That is a neat looking little color. Very, very cool, right? And we came over here, started sliding down this way. Not lighting up everything. Watch, we're gonna go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. There's our little spot for our seagull to sit and just hang out. He looks so, I would have fun over there. What about you guys? That's where I'd want to be hanging out if I was an old seagull, right? Anywhere where you get it, like, look, I'm coming straight at the canvas with the blade so I can scrape it off, right? When we're laying it on, it's almost, our handle is almost hitting the canvas because it's so close, right? So we're gonna come back, grab some of that up, make more cool little shapes, just light little things. Maybe this guy started to feed down back into there, right? You never know. You can't tell me that there's not a place out somewhere that looks just like this, right? Maybe we fed down this way now. Maybe it rotated and fell down. What does yours look like? I always say that, right? This would be a great place for an eagle or some bird to have a nest back in here. So if you like birds and you want to buy this painting before anybody else, make sure you get over to paintwithjosh.etsy.com and purchase this painting right now. Search for number 681 in the store, in the search bar, or you can search for the word TikTok and it'll bring up this painting right here, and you'll be the proud owner before anybody else can get to it. There we go. And if we can get this painting to sell, I'll go ahead and come back and paint a sunset version of this exact painting, even though we know they're never exactly the same, right? Never turns out to be the same. What if we pulled this guy just so lightly down just to add a little bit of mystery? Where are those rocks going back there? Where are all those rocks going? Someone's going to have a party and they didn't invite us, right? Just having that same dark brown, that darker color, and then we come back over it with the lightest little bit, and maybe we get a little bit of light to light up, shine in, do all those cool things. That's a cool piece of rock right there. Right, now we can take our 2-inch brush or your 1-inch brush, whatever way we took our knife and went down, right, which is a lot of different ways in this painting. That's what you have to do with your brush, just so softly, right? We're not trying to spread the paint, not getting any paint on the bristles, just so soft. Got people in the old Etsy store favorite and stuff. You might want to try to get over there if you're trying to buy this painting right now. Someone might be trying to get it as well. So get over there and get it while you can. That's what I always say. dump it down like that, just based on how we pull our brush, right? We grab our brush like this, we take this guy and just so lightly, rotating down, just making it soft. Making it soft. Just like that. However we went with our knife, that's how we go with the brush. And again, it's going to make it the smallest little bit blurry, right? You're going to lose a little bit of that texture, but you're going to gain a little bit of drying time. It's going to help it dry a little faster. All right, maybe take this little bit, add just a little bit more of that lighter color just back in there. Ooh, that's kind of cool right there. Very neat. Leaving a little bit to show right on the edge. A little bit of the darkness, a little bit of the light. Very cool. Yes? Come on into the studio.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Could I speak to you very quickly?
Yes. But give me 1 second, guys. I need to... Okay. Thank you. That was London. Do you guys know who London is? If you're watching and you don't know who London is, she's over on TikTok as well. The London Candle Co. over on TikTok. All one word, The London Candle Co. She sells the most amazing glittery candles. They smell so fantastic, and I love just having one up in here. I smell the candle over anything else, and it's not even lit. Not even lit. All right, now that we've got all of our details in there, we've gone over, we've softened everything. Same thing with our water, just a little bit of soften. Just like that, and then you can decide whether or not you want to leave it dark, which I just might. I might leave it dark down there like that, like we can't even see what's happening down there, right? Very mysterious. I want to go down and explore what's going on down there. But what I am going to do is I need to get this brush a little bit clean. We're going to clean off that brush real quick. Remember, tell me what time it is or where you're watching from. What's your favorite sandwich or what's your favorite emoji? I'm going to come look right now. So hit me with your comments. Where are you watching from? What's your favorite sandwich? And we're about to throw a little bit of grass right over here. So you got about 5 seconds to tell me. Let me see. How long does it take to dry? It takes about a week to dry, depending on your climate. Indiana, Meadow and a Face Falls, that's cool. Let's see, Colorado, checking in. Sanford, excellent. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I never like to be too far away from the painting, otherwise we start losing people's interest, right? So we're gonna come in here into our lighter area, right? We don't need all this super liquidy paint. But I wanna get a little bit of our cad yellow, a couple little dabs onto the end of the brush where we have a few little very thick areas like that, right? And with those guys, we're gonna start coming in, just popping down, right? Maybe they came down, maybe there was a little bit off of there. Little things start happening. Maybe we come down like this, we start climbing up our rock. Oh, thank you. Thank you, London. Now we're gonna come over here into that liquidy white paint, and now this is gonna come off and it's gonna stick so easily. It's gonna start to climb its way up that rock. Oh, neat. Start to come down. Very cool. Very neat little thing. We don't need it to be so bright though, right? If we have it so bright over here, it's not really gonna make sense. So we're gonna take our green, maybe a little bit of our purple, just work them in slightly, right? Little things, not a whole crazy amount. Not a crazy amount of anything, right? Maybe we came down here, rotated our brush, started to fall down. Little things, right? Maybe some of them grow a little bit further. You never know. Never know what they're gonna look like. Maybe there was a little bit of guy just back in there. Oh, just because it's so light down there, who knows what's happening? Maybe they're just hanging on to the edge of a rock. Oh man, that's cool. I like that. Okay, let's do one more little thing over here. We've got all these trees. We've got all these viewers, right? So make sure you're tapping the screen, sharing the live, doing all the stuff you're supposed to do. And again, if we can get this painting to sell, we're gonna come back and do another one. So we're gonna go over here, just like that, and take that brush, and we're gonna bring everything, push everything back, right? Every single thing. So we're gonna come up above our little bit of tree. We're gonna come down. The more we come down, the more I'm gonna push in. And as I push in, it's extending all those bristles all the way down. We have this tree maybe growing from way down underneath this thing. Looks very cool. Very cool. All right, now I'm gonna take a little bit of brown. Again, just on the brush. And that way, on our left-hand side, it's gonna be a little brighter than it is everywhere else. See that? Right over the top of the black. And then we don't have to even use our palette knife to add bark to the tree. It's already right there. It's got its little difference in color. It's a little lighter, it's a little darker. And the more and more we go over it, the more it mixes itself in. Very cool. Very, very cool. Like it's sprouted up. Who thinks I just ruined the painting? Tell me if you think right there with that big old bravery test that I just ruined this painting and it's never ever going to be the same again. It's okay. I can take it. If you tell me that, I'll take it. It's all right. I will believe you. There we go. Just like that. I love it. Let's see. What do you guys have to say? Did I just ruin it? No, it's beautiful. I know I didn't just ruin it. I'm just asking you guys. Okay, we're going to take our liner brush that Frankie sent us. This one is a King Art liner brush. It's a #1 original gold, it says. And I've already taken it and modified it because after the first use, it kind of puffed out on me. So I chopped a few little bristles out. And what we're going to do is come into that same dark color, right? And I'm holding my palette like this because that paint thinner or odorless mineral spirits is really going to want to run down. You want it very liquidy and wet and runny, just like ink, right? Just like that. And so we twist our brush, we come out, and it's very sharp. And who knows, maybe over here at the top, we had a little branch and you started to grow out, right? And the more paint thinner that you have on your brush, the easier it's going to be to get those guys to continue on and grow, right? The less paint thinner, the harder it's going to be. So every so often, go back, dip your brush back in. Maybe we had a little guy off there. Maybe this guy came out, he was over here. We're just twisting and rotating, little different things. Helps push those other trees that are back there way off in the distance, right? And this part can take a while, depending on how many little branches you want to have, how many little details you want to add into yours, right? So you sit and work and do what you got to do to make your painting the best painting out of all of ours, right? Crisscross right over the tip top of that tree. And if you do that, make sure you got enough thinner on the brush and you don't drag it or disturb that bit of tree right there, right? Because it will want to drag very easily. And doesn't this look funny if we have this big, thick, long branch out here and it's just being held in by this little skinny little guy? So extend that bit of trunk down in your branch. Have it come off. Have those cool little angles. Different little things, right? Come over here. All depends. What do you want yours to look like? How does it look compared to mine? How does it look compared to yours? Look, now I have no more thinner. I need to go back and get some more. Do as I say, not as I do. I always tend to, I'm like, oh, I could force it in there, but then I realize you guys are watching my every move. And if I try to force it in there, then you're going to try to force it in there. And that's not what we want, right? Maybe this guy over here, little branch off the side. Maybe this little guy had a little nub and some new growth was growing off of it. It broke off. I don't know. Bit of our trunk over here. Again, these ones that you have extending for a long distance, they have to attach at a thicker point than any part of the branch out there to the tree itself, right? Otherwise, it's just going to look funky. And come back in over here. Just like that. Remember, this painting is 40% off in my Etsy store, paintwithjosh.etsy.com. Over the last 8 nights, this is the 9th night in a row we've gone live, and I've sold 12 paintings over the last 8 nights. Every single night, the painting that we painted live during the show is sold, and I'm just so grateful for you guys. Like, literally, it blows my mind how many people like my art. I'm flabbergasted every day that I don't wake up from this dream and go, okay, I'm back to 12,000 followers. This makes more sense. This is more my speed, right? Back to 12,000. We still need to get more paint thinner. Look at all these branches that we're working through, right? So I'm so grateful for all the followers and all you viewers, everybody that hits the like button and the taps the screen and all that stuff. It just helps me. I'm so close to becoming, I'm just switching and telling my job that, hey, I don't need this place anymore. I'm going to go do art, man. And that's the dream, right? That is the dream. I even told them the other day, I was like, hey, I'm going to break down my own hours. I'm going to cut my own hours because I want to focus more on the art. I want to come up here. I want to paint more for everybody. I want to show you guys all these cool little things you can do, different little things that we can create just from having fun for a little while, right? That's all we did. There's no class here. There's no art. There's no instructor. We just came up and we had fun for a little while. So this painting turned out amazing. I literally cannot wait to see your version of it. Send it into facebook.com/paintwithjosh. And until we see you guys again next time, take care, have the rest of a good day, and bye-bye.